2 years. That's how long my parents went without speaking to me. No birthday texts. No holiday calls. No, how are you? Nothing. It was like I had died. And they had simply moved on. Then one Tuesday morning, a courier knocked on my apartment door holding a thick envelope stamped urgent, legal documents. My stomach dropped instantly. The sender, my parents' lawyer. For a second, I genuinely thought someone had died. Maybe my father was sick. Maybe my mother finally wanted to apologize. Maybe after 2 years of silence, they finally missed me. But the moment I opened the envelope and read the first page, I burst out laughing. Not because it was funny. Because it was completely insane. After abandoning me for 2 years, my parents had somehow convinced themselves I owed them hundreds of thousands of dollars. Flushed heartbreak clapperboard the story. I used to think my family was normal. Not perfect, just normal. That illusion ended the moment money entered the picture. My older brother Jason had always been the favorite child. The athlete. The loud one. The center of attention. Meanwhile, I was the responsible daughter. The one expected to sacrifice quietly. And if you grow up as the responsible child, people slowly stop seeing your sacrifices as sacrifices. They start treating them like obligations. Jason got freedom. I got expectations. Jason made mistakes. I cleaned them up. That was our family dynamic for years. When I was 24, my parents begged me to help Jason financially. Again. At that point, he had already failed 3 businesses. 1 sports bar, 1 crypto company, and somehow, a luxury dog clothing startup. I wish I were joking. Every single failure somehow became a family emergency. And every emergency somehow became my responsibility. Family helps family, Mom constantly reminded me. Funny how that sentence only applied when they needed something from me. By 28, I had built a successful life for myself. I worked in corporate finance, owned a condo downtown, saved aggressively, worked non-stop. Meanwhile Jason spent money like consequences didn't exist. Then came the disaster that changed everything. Jason owed nearly $180,000 in debt. Personal loans, credit cards, business investors. People were threatening lawsuits. And suddenly my parents became desperate. One Sunday dinner, Dad cleared his throat awkwardly before speaking. We need to discuss something important. The moment those words left his mouth, I already knew. Money. Again. Mom gave me that familiar guilt-filled expression. Your brother is struggling. I stared at my plate silently. Then came the sentence I'll never forget. We think you should help him. I laughed immediately. Actually laughed. You're joking. Dad's face hardened. This isn't funny. No, I replied calmly. What's funny is expecting me to rescue a 33-year-old man from his own stupidity. Jason slammed his fork down. You think you're better than me? No, I said honestly. I just think adults should face consequences. That did not go over well. Mom immediately started crying. Classic move. After everything we've done for you. I almost choked. Done for me, I repeated. I paid my own tuition. Bought my own car. Built my own career. Dad's expression turned cold instantly. You've become selfish. And there it was. The moment I stopped being useful, I became selfish. I'm not giving Jason money, I said firmly. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Tense. Then Jason muttered something under his breath. You always thought you were too good for this family anyway. That sentence hurt more than I expected. Because deep down, I had spent years trying to earn their love. Trying to prove I mattered equally. But no matter what I achieved, it never compared to simply being Jason. I stood up quietly. I'm done being your emergency contact every time he ruins his life. Then I walked out. That dinner ended everything. At first, I thought everyone just needed space. A week maybe, 2, but then birthdays passed. Thanksgiving passed. Christmas passed. Nothing. No calls. No texts. No communication whatsoever. 2 years. Gone. And honestly, part of me was devastated. But another part felt free. Without constant guilt and family pressure, my life became peaceful. I got promoted to senior director. Started traveling more. Made real friendships. Started therapy. And for the first time in my life, I realized how emotionally exhausting my family had always been. Then came the envelope. Tuesday morning, 9:14 a.m. I remember the exact time because the entire situation felt surreal. The courier asked for my signature, then handed me a thick legal packet. The return address belonged to a law office downtown. My stomach tightened instantly. The first page read, "Formal notice of financial responsibility." I blinked slowly, then kept reading. Apparently, my parents believed I was morally and financially obligated to contribute toward Jason's outstanding debt because I was the financially successful sibling. I actually burst out laughing in my kitchen, loudly, like a crazy person, because surely, this couldn't be real. But it got worse. Attached to the letter was a detailed payment proposal. They wanted me to pay $85,000 toward Jason's business loans, $42,000 in credit card debt, monthly family support contributions, moving forward. Total, over $150,000. After 2 years of no contact. No apology, no conversation, nothing, just a bill. I laughed so hard I started crying. Not because it was funny. Because the entitlement was unbelievable. Then I noticed something even crazier. The lawyer's letter claimed my parents had emotionally supported me throughout my 20s. And therefore I had a moral debt to repay the family. I nearly dropped the papers laughing. Emotional support. These people ignored me for 2 years because I wouldn't financially rescue their favorite child. And now they wanted reimbursement for parenting. I immediately called the law office. The receptionist transferred me to the attorney handling the case. "Ms. Bennett," the lawyer began professionally, "I assume you received the documents." "Yes," I replied, "and I need to ask one important question." "Of course. Did my parents genuinely think this would work?" Silence. Awkward silence. Then surprisingly, the lawyer sighed quietly. "Off the record," he said carefully, "they are very emotionally invested in this." I started laughing again. "Emotionally invested," I repeated. "My brother is 35 years old." The lawyer sounded exhausted. "I did advise them this was unlikely to succeed legally." "Unlikely," I replied. "You mean impossible." He didn't argue. That's when I realized something important. This wasn't really about money. Not entirely. My parents genuinely believed I existed to stabilize Jason's life forever. And when I refused, they treated it like betrayal. Later that night, I sat alone rereading the documents. And honestly, I stopped feeling angry, because suddenly, everything became crystal clear. I was never valued as a daughter. I was valued as a resource. Useful, responsible, reliable, until I set boundaries. Then suddenly I became selfish, cruel, ungrateful. That realization hurt deeply, but it also healed something inside me. Because once you see people clearly, you stop blaming yourself for their behavior. 3 days later, my mother finally called me directly. First time in 2 years. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Her voice sounded shaky. "You received the documents?" "Yes." Long silence. Then she whispered, "We didn't know what else to do." I closed my eyes. "You could have treated your son like an adult." Instant silence. "You don't understand how hard this has been for him," she replied emotionally. I laughed softly. "There it is again," I whispered. "Everything is always harder for Jason." Mom started crying. "We're family." "No," I replied calmly. "Family doesn't disappear for 2 years and come back with invoices." That shut her up immediately. Then quietly, I added, "You abandoned your daughter because she stopped financing your son." Her breathing became uneven, because deep down, she knew it was true. "I hope Jason figures his life out," I said honestly. "But I'm done sacrificing mine for him." Then I hung up. And strangely, I didn't cry afterward, because for the first time in my life, I finally understood something powerful. Setting boundaries doesn't make you cruel. It reveals who is benefiting from your lack of them. A month later, the legal case disappeared quietly. Because of course it did. There was never a real case to begin with. Just manipulation wrapped in legal paper. I never heard from Jason again. My parents occasionally sent awkward holiday texts after that. But things never truly recovered. And honestly, that was probably for the best. Because peace entered my life the moment guilt left it. And some relationships only survive when one person is willing to be used. I finally stopped volunteering. Some families confuse love with obligation. They expect endless sacrifice from the responsible child while protecting the one who refuses to grow up. But love should never require you to destroy yourself to save someone else. Setting boundaries is not selfish. And people who only value you when you're useful were never truly valuing you at all. If this story touched your heart, thumbs up, like this video. Bell subscribe for more emotional stories. Speech balloon comment below. Would you have paid your brother's debt, or walked away too?